Hello, so today we're going to be talking about Slowly We Open Our Eyes by Dan Chaon. About the author. Dan Chaon was born in 1964. He was adopted and raised in Sidney, Nebraska, a village with a population of 20. Cohen currently lives in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. He has two sons. His wife of 20 years was also a writer. Her name was Sheila Schwartz. She sadly died of ovarian cancer in 2008. He currently teaches at Oberlin College. Cohen has been a finalist for the National Magazine Award in Fiction and was the recipient of the 2006 Academy Award in Literature. Publication reviews. Slowly We Open Our Eyes was published February 7th, 2012, in a collection of short stories by Dan Cohen. The collection was called Stay Awake. Slowly We Open Our Eyes did not have a lot of commentary on it, but the collection was well received. Stay Awake is a superbly disquieting demonstration of that uneasy power. New York Times. The shocks in this collection are many, and they're as frightening as they're reverberant as the shock of seeing a ghostly face in your bedroom at night. The Washington Post. So unfamiliar words. There wasn't a lot of allusions, but there was many unfamiliar words in this short story. So embankment, a wall or bank of earth or stone built to prevent a river flooding an area. Eddies, a circular movement of water counter to a main current, causing a small whirlpool. Non-puzzled, surprised and confused so much that they are unsure how to react. Blissfully, in a manner characterized by extreme happiness or joy. Evanston, a city in Chicagoland area, located in Cook County, Illinois, United States. It is situated on the North Shore along Lake Michigan. Intravenous, existing or taking place within or administered into a vein or veins. Gelatinous, having a consistency of jelly, Gossamer, used to refer to something very light, thin, and insubstantial or delicate. So, plot summary. Slowly We Open Our Eyes is about two brothers driving through the plain country of Chicago. They're on their way to their grandmother's funeral. The two brothers are driving in a semi-truck used to transport of medical waste owned by the older brother. On the drive, the older brother convinces the younger brother to take drugs as well as alcohol to pass the time. At night, the two brothers get in a car crash. They believe that they hit a deer, but they slowly begin to unravel the truth. Characters. So Smokey, he's the older brother of O'Sullivan and is a trucker of medical waste. And then Donald O'Sullivan, he likes to be called O'Sullivan, the younger brother of Smokey, a liberal arts major who can't keep a stable job. He's fairly lazy and doesn't know what to do with his life. And the story's kind of centered around O'Sullivan, so he would be the main character or protagonist. Theme statements. A theme statement is what a piece of writing was about, not the plot, but what sort of insight or perspective does it give on life, the world, or human nature. There are many messages portrayed in the short story, but these are the two that stood out to me, and then the more minor themes that I saw. That's not supposed to be there. We can start out with the minor themes. So don't drink and drive, obviously. In the story, it leads to a big car accident. And that leads me into my next point. Don't succumb to peer pressure. Smokey convinces O'Sullivan to take pills and alcohol with him when they're driving, which ends up being a horrible idea. And then finally, the truth will always come out. The whole story is about Smokey and O'Sullivan uncovering what really happened in the car crash, and in the end, the truth does come out. So, theme one, in time our bad habits are bound to catch up with us. Quote, it's that awful, inevitable feeling, the tickling of a roulette wheel as the marble finally settles into place. Oh my God. Page 187, Throughout the story, O'Sullivan explains how he has made many mistakes in his life, yet hasn't suffered any huge consequences. This quote from the end of the story shows that it was just a matter of time until O'Sullivan's bad habits were going to catch up with him. It was inevitable, and he knew that. The car crash was the last straw and made him realize all that he had done. It was bad. Theme 2, a simple choice can lead to grave mistakes. Quote, mixing pills and alcohol, isn't that dangerous? Of course, but you're 24 years old. You're supposed to think you're immortal. Page 178. While driving, Smokey convinces his brother Sullivan to take pills and alcohol with him. This leads to the brothers getting into a fatal car crash and killing someone. This goes to show that a simple decision can lead to an enormous mistake that was not intended. Literary elements. A literary element is a constituent of all works of narrative fiction, a necessary feature of verbal storytelling that can be found in any written or spoken narrative. So the first one was foreshadowing. Throughout the story, the timeline is not in chronological order. Each chapter goes back and forth in time. This gives the reader an insight on what is going to take place. It helps the reader piece together what is really taking place in the story before it happens. Quote, I hope you're not driving. I'm not. That's good news for the rest of us. Page 185. Even though Sullivan isn't driving, his brother took the same pills and alcohol is. This passage gives the reader an idea of what is going to take place at the end of the story before it takes place. The next literary element is imagery. Throughout the story, Dan Cohen describes different scenes very well. He lets the reader have a clear image in their heads of what is taking place in the story. Quote, he shines his flashlight into the darkness beyond the memorial, and O'Sullivan noticed that there's another one just a few yards further, and another. 5, 6, 7 crosses clustered there at the edge of the road. Page 186. Mr. Cohen is very thorough while describing certain scenes. This engages the reader more and helps them understand a certain situation. Cliffhanger. Slowly we open our eyes ends without a clear resolution. This leaves the reader to gather their own information, dig deeper into the story, and come to their own conclusion, wondering if their idea is the same one that Mr. Cohen had while writing the story. Quote, it's that awful inevitable feeling, the tickling of a roulette wheel as the marble finally settles in place. Oh my god. This is the final line. I see now that final is spelled incorrectly. There's an I in there. It makes the reader wonder why O'Sullivan is so shocked at the end. Personal evaluation. I'm glad that he chose a short story, even though it was difficult to understand at times and doesn't have a clear ending. There were clear underlying messages that stood out to me. The fact that I had to dig deep and read the story more than once made this project more enjoyable. I felt as I was uncovering more and more each time I read it, which made it very interesting. This can have the same application in the real world. While trying to solve a problem, to truly find the answer, you have to try many times. I don't believe there was any weaknesses in the story. It kept me engaged, was interesting, and was like nothing I'd ever read before. And at the end of the story, so the conclusion of it, I personally believe that the two brothers killed the motorcyclist in the car crash. The reason is that they didn't hit the deer. Quote, there's your fucking deer, I say. I see the deer, the buck, is standing about 15 yards away. Page 186. I also believe that the place that they got in the accident is a very common place for crashes due to all of the crosses there. There's foreshadowing when the motorcyclist tells O'Sullivan, quote, I hope you're not driving, page 185. Finally, the pills and alcohol the brothers took made them not alert, so they didn't know if they had hit the motorcyclist or not. And that is all. There's my works cited. First, slowly we open our eyes.